Hello everyone! Before I dive into the video, I would like to thank everyone who supported my channel. My last video about the sacred hoverboots in the Shadow Temple went quite well, and the lovely comments and feedback only helps me with making better content. As a one-man army, I have to do everything alone, so watching the channel grow is amazing to me, and that's all thanks to you guys. It really spooked me a bit, so okay, let's continue with the video. The Forest Temple. One of the most spooky and interesting temples of the Legend of Zelda series. A forest temple has the theme of being intertwined with nature. Over the course of the series, countless other forest-like dungeons and temples were created by Nintendo, but nothing ever came close to the one in Ocarina of Time. As you explore the Lost Woods that is guarded by moblins, you encounter the entrance of the Forest Temple, which is only accessible by getting the hookshot, an item that allows you to shoot at wood or certain targets to fly over paths and pitfalls, to gain access to areas you couldn't go to otherwise. When entering the temple, you notice the music. It sounds very echo-like, or it sounds like it's a theme in reverse, as if the music wants to make you feel awkward. Then you see the first door, and notice it's built in a very specific way. It is surrounded by vines and trees, and it looks to be built as some form of Greek-Roman architecture. You would think that someone lived here for a long time, or that someone used to live here. When entering the first door, you will encounter a very large room, with 4 torches and a strange pillar-shaped structure in the middle, which goes underground the moment you see it, as 4 ghosts suddenly appear that acts like torches, and vanish as fast as they appeared. Now, who were these ghosts? Why are they here? And who created this large amazing temple? First, we have to start looking at these ghosts. Their real name are poes. Poes are ghosts or undead enemies in the Legend of Zelda series. These ghosts roam around graveyards, cemeteries, and other related death areas or situations. They appear to have a lantern in their hands, which they use to guide the souls of the dead around, and also use it as a light source. Their inspiration comes from the will-o-wisps, a mythological creature that lures you into a river or any other harmful place to misguide you to your death. The poes can also be captured and collected in a bottle, and sold to a ghost soul merchant, which is just very eerie to me when you think about it. However, these specific poes with 4 different colors in the Forest Temple also have their own unique names, a specific thing that has been mentioned throughout the series as a nod to Ocarina of Time. Their names are Joelle, Meg, Beth, and Amy. The reason why they are called that way is that they are actual sisters and are a reference to a novel called Little Woman, written by Louisa May Alcott. I found that to be an actual very specific nod and not sure why that was done. But there is something else I would like to dive into more that might explain what is going on in this temple and why there are ghosts flying around. In certain Asian countries, the number 4 means death and misfortune, and so they try very hard to avoid anything related to the number 4. Elevators might not have a 4th floor. Parking lots might have skipped the number 4, and so on. It is a religious idea of bad luck. One could even say superstitious. But I don't want to make a video for 4 minutes or hours long, so I'd rather skip that number. As the 4 poes vanish into the temple for Link to discover and defeat, one could look at their colors and say, they are given colors in order to separate the ghosts from one another. In my other video, which you can see here, I talked about the Shadow Temple and the way how Nintendo made some interesting Greek mythology nods within that temple. However, in the Forest Temple, there are 4 torches, with each ghost pointing to a cardinal direction. They are the 4 winds, or in other words, the Anemoi. The Enamoi in Greek mythology are minor gods that describe a cardinal direction. This would indicate the reason why this temple was built in such an architectural style. But we aren't done yet. To prove my point of these ghosts being wind deities, the forest medallion wasn't the forest medallion at all at one point. Instead, I could direct you to a way of saying it was an actual symbol based on wind. The green color is usually depicted in Japanese RPGs as the element of wind. But you can also find fans in the Shadow Temple, which might have been something Nintendo decided to do more with, but couldn't as there was not simply enough space on the cartridge. The paintings we can find that turned out to be the poes, which you have to shoot with an arrow, are also resembling something we have seen in many cultures, but it is more of a modern idea. It is said that a spirit or ghost can be captured inside a picture or a painting. We also see this happening in a lot of horror movies. After defeating all the ghosts, the mysterious structure rises up from the ground and it turns out to be an elevator down. Once reaching the bottom floor, we notice a large circle-like symbol on the ground, with colors pointing to hidden rooms behind large walls, which looks to be pointing to the cardinal points, like a compass. And at the end of the room, we finally reach the boss of the temple. Here we fight Phantom Ganon, the ghost that Ganondorf has created with his dark magic. And in the room and on the floor, we see more paintings hanging on the walls. The same strategy the poes used in order to hide in, so does this phantom. On the ground, we see the Triforce, but it has pieces of the Triforce on the edges of it, pointing to the paintings. And after beating this tutorial boss, as I would like to call it that way, it uses the same strategy of tennis which will happen with the real Ganondorf, which is also a nod to the older games. We finally reach the end of the Forest Temple. The temple feels like an abandoned haunted house attraction, left in a hurry by whoever was living here in order to worship the Sage of the Forest. Step by step, we slowly walk into a strange dimension of magical growth and disarray, and as nature went on, the ghost eventually took over, and over time, this became the Forest Temple. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.